So Kenny then got a worker boy. And I'm sure the sex comes in there too. So he works building her house, cleans her house, and sexes her down. Other than that, he should shut it. Thumbs up for you guys who know that if Phaedra didn't know those cameras were rolling, there's no way in hell she would have let Portia babysit her kids. Phaedra may be trifling, but she's not retarded. Phaedra's ridiculous. She called the meeting, Candy arrives, and she just sits there staring at her. It's like, what's your problem? Oh God. I mean, why did Candy even show up? Like I said, I wouldn't have shown up without knowing what the agenda was supposed to be. I do like the way Candy jumped right in and said, why are you acting like you're one way one time and another way another time? I guess we're not friends anymore. You know, and she's basically pushed out there by Phaedra because Phaedra won't freaking talk. So Phaedra goes, why are you, I think you should have checked your mom. Candy's mom may be wrong 99% of the time she opens her mouth, but that is a grown woman. So it's really not up to Candy to check her mom, especially in front of anyone else. If she wants to say something to her mom privately without Phaedra being there, she says something about Phaedra and what? And what? I do have a problem with Candy in that she is so passive aggressive that Mama Joyce, she really is, I mean, you raise your kids, and she definitely is very similar to Mama Joyce in that she likes to say stuff that she doesn't really know is true or not. But when something is said about her, she has a problem with it. But yet she'll do the same thing again to someone else. So it's really ridiculous. But I do think that you can't check grown people. You can say something maybe late, like she came over and she was like, oh, what? She was trying to check her. Well, see, and that's the thing. If she was going to check her, she should have checked her fully. I guess. I don't know. Candy does, and her shaky voice was trying to squeak out. Her shaky voice, because she gets very emotional very quickly. We know this. And she's not pregnant anymore, so we can't use that as an excuse. But she says, I cannot stand the way you say things are good, Phaedra, and then 2 seconds later, you're talking about me behind my back. Do you like that she said that? Because if you feel it, say it. Phaedra tries to act clueless, and this is what I cannot stand about Phaedra. She always tries to act like she doesn't know what the hell you're talking about. But she does do that. We've seen her do that time and time again. Her and frickin' Frack especially, because that's her bestie. She used to do it with Candy. Candy used to do it with her. So she's trying to act like she doesn't do that. It's ridiculous. And we do remember how Phaedra disrespected Candy's husband, saying he was scrounging around the couch for change and that he was on an allowance from Candy. Keep in mind, Phaedra was the deadbeat in that circumstance. So, you know, even though that's an excuse, you don't want to look too crazy, you looked extra crazy, and you talked about your best good friend. What the hell? Or her husband. Same thing, they're yoked. Candy said everything I said was true. Phaedra's like, no it wasn't. And Candy's like, yeah it was. My husband wasn't scraping for change. Phaedra low-key tried to threaten Candy by going, at the end of the day, we both know a lot about each other. And Candy's like, what? And she goes, yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. I can expose you. Candy's like, don't get it twisted. I never put down my laundry list on you. So keep talking. She didn't say keep talking, but it's implied. Phaedra makes me sick. She goes to Candy, I don't know why you're so angry. You have everything. And I have nothing. You got your family, you got your husband. Everything's peachy for you. Why are you lashing out at me? I should be angry. And Candy's like, bullshit, bitch. Phaedra's like, I'm single, I'm single, I'm single. Candy's like, but you know what, bitch? You was waiting for him to go. So this Crimea River bullshit is not flying. So let's stop talking about it. Wow, Candy totally spilled the tea that Phaedra was talking to other folks, meaning dudes, before Apollo was even gone. What? Phaedra looks shook. She is gulping whatever she's gulping like there's no tomorrow. Because Candy outs her and says, you was already planning on marrying somebody else before the new year. She said you were just trying to put on a brave face because people look down on people that don't stand by their man when the going gets tough. And you know Phaedra was shook because her voice is about 10 octaves too high. And see, this is where we know Kandi, and I'm not taking sides, Candy's really being petty because a few years back, Phaedra said to Nene that she was shocked that Kandi hadn't been by her side for all the drama. She was throwing a pity party, and Kandi was disgusted because of all the people in the group. It was Nene's ass, the one she has the only serious problem with, the one that she never really got along with. Kandi had a good point. She said, you weren't even crying about your husband, you were crying about our friendship. Because she was really crying about our friendship. But then Phaedra says something, the most ridiculous thing of the night. She goes, maybe I loved you more than my husband. And that sounded so crazy and psycho and manipulative. It was unbelievable, even coming out of Phaedra's mouth. And Kandi literally laughs in her face because she knows Phaedra's trying to manipulate her. No Jedi mind trick for Kandi. Kandi ends the meeting by saying, I know you called this meeting so you could check me on my mama. She didn't say it all rough like that, but pretty much that's what she said. I know you wanted to check me on my mom, but you're not going to manipulate me. I'm not going to check my mom. And guess what? I'm going to air all your shit. So back up. Goodbye. And they end cordially, but Phaedra's a loser in this one. The first clue that you know that Portia has no idea about children is she tries to talk baby talk to them. And most people know that when you talk baby talk to your child or to a child, it hinders their development. It hinders their development. You want them to be able to talk normally. Phaedra's kids are so cute, but as we observed in the prior seasons, that little one is going to have problems. He's super violent. He demonstrates that constantly. Unless that's just production catching every violent outburst. But why are there any? Aiden doesn't have any that we've seen. Little Dylan is not only violent, but he's quite rude. But then again, I'm sure Portia's super annoying, even to a child. And I do love when Aiden tells Portia he doesn't trust her. I don't trust you! Portia is flabbergasted at how smart the children are. And I'm sure the children are normal intelligence, even though they do seem super smart. But we have to realize we're dealing with Portia. We definitely know this is unrealistic reality because in reality, Phaedra would have crept in that house silently instead of calling out Portia's name, and crept straight up to the bedrooms to make sure her kids were still alive. Somebody came in my comments and said, why do you assume that Portia has sex with everyone she goes on dates with? What about the advice you just gave Phaedra to grease them lips up? Of course she at least tries to. So Sheree is pimping her kid Cairo. She really paid attention when Kandi gave her lesson to pimp your kids. So Bob, Sheree's ex and Cairo's dad, shows up to the modeling session for Cairo, trying to fuck up his chances. Sometimes you can be judged by who your parents are when it comes to modeling. Do they have a doctor on the set? Because Bob really needs to be looked at. He's constantly sweating like he just finished running a marathon. His high blood pressure pills really need to be checked and the dosage upped. Kenya, how old are we? And you're calling your dad for advice on your boyfriend? He needs to be put on a plane to check your boyfriend. If it's to that level and you guys are not even engaged, that's not a phone call. That's a goodbye. Cynthia's offer for her dream house has been accepted. Hey! And she and her daughter are ecstatic. And side note, how adorable is Cynthia's dog? That cut on her is or him. The dog's name is Bailey. It might be a him. Very adorable. Phaedra's office calls Kandi while Candy's in a meeting, a bunch of people surrounding her. And Phaedra wants to have an early dinner meeting. Now keep in mind, Phaedra and Candy are no longer best good friends. So if you were Candy, wouldn't you want to know what the meeting's about so you could kind of get prepared? If it's a business meeting even, you'd have to know what it's about so you could kind of be prepared. Then of course Candy sits around and gossips fully behind Phaedra's back. They're not friends anymore, so who gives a damn? And they fully believe what Mama Joyce said, and that is that Drama wanted to blow Phaedra the fuck up. And that was really interesting. DJ Drama's mom comes to visit Phaedra at her office, and I'm not sure if she came there to apologize because DJ Drama said anything or whatever the situation really was, or if she's concerned that Phaedra thought he was there to hurt her. It almost seems as if he did come up there to blow Phaedra the fuck up. He might have been on something, and now she's like, I'm sorry, it was a misunderstanding. He was tripping that day. He did take his meds. I don't know. It's a little confusing scene at this point. Candy's really going way too far because she's trying to justify believing her mom's gossip by saying that somebody she knows saw Phaedra outside and she had her bodyguard. And then she says maybe that was probably her boyfriend. She's trying to keep under wraps. Who does that? Ooh, I hate to have Candy as a friend. I guess that's why she and certain other individuals get along well, because birds of a feather. Then Candy goes on to say, one of her workers goes on to say that was probably Chocolate, the guy that Apollo thought she was effing back in the day. He didn't say it exactly like that, but that's what he was saying. And Candy goes, oh no, I know who Mr. Chocolate is. That wasn't him. What? Phaedra has always denied there is a Mr. Chocolate. When you were her best good friend, you said nothing. Now you're putting her in blast, Candy? Really? This is crazy. Portia has Todd over the house to, I guess, introduce him to her family. And we know she jumps the gun when it comes to introducing folks to her family. Remember when that guy popped out of nowhere and she threw a big party for him to meet her family, and they were gonna move in together and everything. The only problem was he knew nothing about anything. Portia does not know how to communicate. We already know that. So this guy Todd clearly is in it just for the exposure. He doesn't seem into her. He's skinning and grinning like crazy. He already has a bunch of kids. I mean, I don't want to think that pickings are that slim in Atlanta, but maybe just for Portia they are. Because even bargain basement Tina Knowles seems unimpressed with this guy. Lauren, Portia's sister, is the only one sitting there with some sense. And she says, with her, she doesn't go back to exes because there's a reason it didn't work out the first time. And I completely agree. This new guy, Todd, the other guy's name was Duke, the one they tried to squeeze in last year, who played football. But Todd has a problem with eye contact, and that also makes me leery of him. The fact that he's trying to be with Portia makes me leery right there. Can somebody Google Todd and see what his business is? Because clearly he's on this show just to be seen. He actually says he loves her on film. How much did you pay him, Portia? And Kenya's dad, he makes his appearance. She's driving in. Oh, the insults, he does not put them on pause. I hope it looks better than it did the last time, he says. What? Can you just keep some of these negative thoughts that fly through that pea brain of yours to yourself sometimes? It doesn't look like a piece of shit anymore. I'm hungry. What can you cook? Oh my God. If this was my dad, I'd be a little miffed at him. Well, I guess if that's your dad, you just love him unconditionally. It's just annoying to those of us who have to hear this whining. Kenya's dad definitely says what I've said many times before. People are on their best behavior in the beginning because they want to. They're trying to impress you and trick you and fool you. It takes at least, well, you definitely have to live for the person to really know who they are. But it takes at least a year to really know how they react to certain things. Doesn't get better from there. They're on their best behavior in the beginning. And keep in mind, even though Matt is significantly younger than Kenya, at this point he's what, 27? You're who you're gonna be by the time you're 24, 25. That's funny. I've never cooked for someone where they didn't voluntarily say it was delicious. Kenya actually has to ask her dad how good the food is. God forbid he just compliment her for no reason or because it's good. Cynthia and Sheree meet, and Cairo's with Sheree. She wants to get him into the modeling industry, and of course Cynthia used to be a top model. But how uncomfortable were you guys when Cynthia was lusting after Cairo, doing her cougar best? I have a 21-year-old and that is creepy as fuck. So Cynthia, when Sheree tells her that she'd like Cairo to walk in Fashion Week, Cynthia can't stomp on that drink quick enough. So you know what I would say to that? Cynthia may not see it. Cynthia is not always the most positive, forward-thinking person. She should, if he's that serious about modeling, register with him, have him seen by a couple of the top agencies. Not Cynthia's agency, a couple of the top ones. And let someone decide from there. There's so many people who get into modeling and they get 100 no's, and then they get the one yes and they shoot straight to the top. And to me, Cairo has it. So I would take what Cynthia said with a grain of salt. Cynthia says it's a one-time free consultation. First she said she's gonna send the bill. And of course we know Sheree does not like to be billed, not by people she knows. And what advice did she even get? I would be on Sheree's side with this, because it's like, were you helpful? No. She's like, she tells Cairo he's super tall, so that might limit him. He is not 7'2", he's 6'8", I believe, 6'5", between 6'5" and 6'8", which is still prime height for modeling at the top tier. Actually, I think 6'3" is the but anyway, he's there. So Cynthia's just stomping on him because she doesn't have a son, and to me, Cynthia is not necessarily the top tier. So Kenya's dad doesn't want to say his name. What's that about? And this is at the cigar bar. You can't give a first name? What the hell? So at this point, Matt has stood Kenya and her daddy up by 30 minutes minimally. And the conversation's crazy. Kenya calls him. She wants her dad to call him, but she still has to dial him. I guess she's dialing on, I don't know whose phone she dialed, but Matt answers the phone. He's like, I'm not coming, to the dad. And the dad's like, what's going on? He has the phone to Kenya in 2 seconds. And it's like, he says he's been manipulated. Well, Matt says he's been manipulated. We don't know where the conversation is, who said what first. It's chopped up, it's crazy. But in the meantime, Matt just doesn't want to show up to be manipulated, but he doesn't want to talk about certain things over the phone. So it's like, what? What is this scene even about? So Matt does show up. I do like the way Matt and Kenya's dad greeted each other. That was very respectful. A respectful start. But of course, the dad, oh, by the way, Matt did hug Kenya upon arrival. But the dad kind of starts right in on Matt. This is his first meeting with him, and he knows some stuff, he's heard some stuff, but he says, now Matt, the issue I got with you, and his body language is very confrontational. So it turns out, and I do like the way the father's handling the negotiation. He says, I think Kenya's trying to say you're the one, but the problem is these anger outbursts. Do you feel she's the number one? He says, yes, but I'm kind of feeling manipulated because when she's nice, I'm being forced to work and clean her house. So Kenya then got a worker boy. And I'm sure the sex comes in there too. So he works building her house, cleans her house, and sexes her down. Other than that, he should shut it. Matt says, I'm willing to make some changes, but I got some demands too. The problem is, Kenya doesn't think she should change at all. She refuses to acknowledge that she has any flaws. Matt says the reason why he constantly brings stuff up after they've resolved things is that Kenya will apologize, but it's more so, get the fuck out my face, here's your sorry. And we have seen Kenya do that. So he didn't like that. And Kenya's like, well, you're not gonna get respect if I don't think you deserve respect. So then Matt's like, well, that's why we're over. Why am I here? So that's the end of the conversation inside. They're leaving, and the dad says, if it's worth fighting for, fight. If it's not, get in your truck and keep it moving. And that's how we should end it. Let these grown folks make their decision. And that was the end of the episode. I loved it. I was there for it. Please leave your comments below. As always, I love your comments. Please be sure to share, like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.